Good afternoon, everyone. So this is my first slide, and maybe you can tell who's my least favorite Prime Minister of Thailand. And anyway, and this morning, Ajahn Thongchai just said that politics is not fun, but I agree. But our solution is just make fun of it. So yeah. And this presentation is part of my chapter. It is still an ongoing process. So I'm still shaping, still writing on it. So any constructive critics are more than welcome. So my presentation is more about voting behavior in southern part of Thailand. Why am I interested? Why do I want to study about it? Because there has been some research on voting behavior in this part of area, but in the 80s and 90s, but not that much lately. And also, especially after 2004, which is the violence that's ongoing until today. So that's why I want to learn more about it. And also, following with some discussion with many of the scholars, many of the national politicians, and some informants, many of them kind of inform me or tell me about that. It's actually a party-prone area, more towards for the Democrat Party. You can look back at the past couple elections, you'll see that most of the seats were won by the Democrat Party. And also people think that it's a religion and identity-based area. Also because vote buying is increasingly every year of the election as it goes. So I want to really figure that out, whether it's true or not. And so after my field, also another thing is the middle class, the Bangkokians, those who are on the ivory tower, likes to say that villagers are stupid. They don't know how to vote. And they're money thirst. So they'll just get money and they'll just vote for whoever they want. Which, after my field work, I want to prove to them that, hey, you're wrong. Sorry to be, I'm really concrete with that, but because of, not to say that there's no vote buying in the constituents, okay? Not that I'm completely ignore the fact that there's some religion based there, but there's a hidden explanation behind it, and violence certainly plays a role, an important role to it. So my methodology, I combine between qualitative and quantitative. The qualitative is based on my in-depth interview, and my quantitative is basically from survey sampling. I did that across constituencies throughout 3 provinces, and actually it kind of complements one another. The reason is there's some disadvantage of doing or working on electoral politics in southern part of Thailand, because you can see it clearly, the distinction between Democrat Party and the Thai Party. So if you go along one line, okay, snowball one another, you'll just get only one network, one side. Okay? So for me, what I use that to fill that gap is to use the survey sampling. By doing that, I'll just go and walk in through some stranger's house, and like right here, like I'll just walk in and approach those guys, and they'll just kind of, who is this lady? And then we kind of try to explain what I want to do, and they're really helpful, actually. Also, to talk about strength and weakness of my methodology, the strength of it, by doing the survey sampling yourself, driving around yourself, that kind of led you to understand and see more clear picture of how the village is like. And you can get to really talk with these people face to face, which is actually really helpful. Okay? It's a first-hand-on experience. But for my weakness, and I am aware of that, is this survey sampling has been done only in year 2012. So I would say that it will be more valid, more concrete if I can do it across time. But I have limitation of funding and time, so this is the best I can do for the moment. For obstacles during my research is, of course, it's a violence area. So you have to always be aware of what is going on around you. You have to expect for the unexpected. These are some examples. The door slamming right in front of your face, group of people jumping out from the pickup truck and pointing a machine gun in front of you, or a report of fighting between the insurgents and authorities, which make you have to turn back, and that's done for the day. You can't do the research on that day. And also, a woman screamed at me and chased me out from the village because I wear hijab. I enter a Buddhist village, by the way. So these are all the things that I've encountered. And how to handle these unforeseen situations is actually a very great challenge. You have to be diplomatic, be as humble as you can be, stay calm, and use your wit at that moment. And I never think that I had before. I have it then. I just realized that. So one wrong move can get you in danger. And these are all the faces of people that I've interviewed and have a chance to talk with. They're willing to show their face. This is one of the village headmen. She's a woman, which is really rare in that area as a Muslim. For her, she doesn't talk much. And she just said that she will just vote if her daughter tells her who to vote for. So basically, she didn't really being that helpful. This is in Kabang, at the border area of Yala and Malaysia. This guy here is awesome. He's 80 years old. He's a spiritual leader of one of the village in red zone area. And this guy here, I have to talk about him. He's a die-hard Democrat Party loyal. This is in Yala province, one of the sub-district called Tashi. So basically, I asked him about all sorts of stuff, and he said that even there's an electric poll, which I think to all we know about it, if there's an electric poll registered as Democrat Party, he's going to vote for that. And he even go further that if there's a Frenchman registered as a Democrat Party, French, not Thai, registered as Democrat Party, he's going to vote for it. So I play devil's advocate with him. How about Thaksin? What if Thaksin registered as Democrat? Will you vote for him? He's like stunned for a moment. Yeah, I'll vote for him. I'll vote for him. So he's a die-hard loyal to Democrat Party. So I asked all these questions about vote buying from these people, try to compile them all up, and this is by far, I can general this much. So from the villagers' perception, first thing is they consider it as a gift, okay? So what is it? These people, rubber tappers, they have to go to work early and they get their salary, they're earning daily. It's not like monthly salary like any other people in the Bangkok or middle class people. So if they go to voting booth that day, they'll lose, whatever they have to earn that day. So they consider that, oh, okay, this is the money that I can get in compensate from the work that I can't do that day. Secondly, the one is they see that all politicians are corrupt. Okay? So they'll just go to the national level and corrupt more. So I'll just take them anyway right at the moment. It's like only a little share of those whatever the politicians will get later. But the third one here is the one that I would like to emphasize the most, is about safety concern. When it comes to vote buying in a violence area, about taking money, okay? I have to give you an example. I kind of separate into two groups, two levels of category, individual level and the group level. The individual level is, let's say there's this one example, a lady. If there's 4 people from four political parties approach her, okay, and give her money, no matter how much it is, 200 baht, 300 baht, whatever. She decides to take them all. Okay? For many of you might think that, wow, she's so greedy. But in fact, it's not. The reason is because for a safety reason. Let's say if she take only from one person, the other 3 would know that no way that she's going to vote for the other 3. So one way to do it is to take them all and to play mysterious, to one another. As for the group level, this is interesting. I categorized the vote canvassers into 3 tiers. Okay, I didn't want to pay much attention on this presentation, but anyway, there's 3 tiers. And the tiers, this is the last tier, which is the head villagemen, or the spiritual leaders, who are actually very close to the villages in whatever that village is. So what they're doing is, sometimes they'll just get the money from different political party, and because they're all friends, one village, one head villageman, this is in Panare actually, and also to this village, what they did is to distribute the money. And okay, you take it to your village, you take it to your village, and we vote for whoever it is. So they kind of plan it out. They try to distribute it evenly. So this is what I got from all those in-depth interviews. Okay. So what's next is I come to try to figure out about the violence incidence level in this area. What I did is try to count the numbers of 1 month before the election day and 1 month after the election day. And these are the results that I got. Okay? That may be too confusing, so what I did is try to separate, and I did separate into 3 provinces so you can see the pattern of how it is. So the Pattani province, Yala province, and Narathiwat province are separate into constituency here. So Y1 is like Yala constituency 1. And from this graph, you can tell which area has the high violence during that time. So you can see here in 2006, the highest one here is Pattani 4, constituency 4 of Pattani. That'd be Yarang Wakmawi, which is actually in a military base camp, right there. The Khai Sirinthorn, right? Khai Sirinthorn is right there. The major military base camp is there in Pattani 4. Narathiwat as well, right here. N4 and N3. These are all high level of violence in this area. A lot of killings, bombings, and shootings. And what can I learn from this violence? It's just want to give me a clear, more like a guide way to do some comparison, which will lead me to the next hypothesis. So this is my hypothesis is the higher the violence incidence in the constituency, the closer a vote sharing between the winner and the runner-up. So that's my hypothesis. So come to this slide. Don't get bored just yet. This is 2005 election result and 2011 election result. The red one that I mark as red are those in the red zone or high violence constituency area. As for in the blue one, it's a lower in terms of violence in some of the constituency area. So you can see a little bit from here. So what can I tell from here? What I did is just want to see and test my hypothesis whether if it's correct or not. So I subtract. Oh, I'm sorry. Just want to say that you have to keep in mind that the red zone area is also where the insurgents are located. Also, like, you know, like a big group of insurgents location, and also where the military base camp are. So here's the result. What I did is the average of vote share differences between the high violence constituency and low violence constituency. And this is the result I got in 2005 and 2011. You have to keep that in mind that 2005 is right after Crusade and Takbai. I don't know if you've heard about it. That's the, during the massacre in 2004. And that reflects a lot to year 2005 election, which still has like high violence ongoing. And one of you might imagine that if, okay, you might think that the area where there's the high, the area where there's the high violence, perhaps will vote strategically against Thaksin. You might have thought that. But when the result comes out, actually, it's somehow quite amazing that the high violence area, the red one here, the vote share between the front runner and the runner-up are really close to one another. They're really combative, one another badly. It's a strong competitive. So why? People might ask that. So I'll just go back to what I just explained early on about vote buying, about how those people, the villagers, explain to me of how they deal when people hand them money. Okay. So this actually proved that my hypothesis is actually going well. Actually, I should have added the year 2001 election results to it to see as a comparison, but sorry, I forgot to do that. And that will, you can see, because that is before the violence, so you can see the difference between the violence time and the non-violent time. I'm not going to go into these details, it's too many numbers, but actually kind of explain a little bit on whether people actually vote because of religion identity base. So if you really ask them about those questions, at first there seems to be, when you ask about the religion base, it's like 50-something against 47-something religion. But when you ask of whether if, how can I go back? Okay, so I kind of add some variable to it. What if the person shares the same religious belief, but doesn't work for your constituent? Or if you share the same religion with you, but actually involves corruption a lot, the results actually comes out very different. Like this one, you can see about 80% versus 13% here for corruption. And here for about 73% versus about 20-something percentage if that same that person shares same religion but not working for your constituency. I'll just skip that because I don't have that much time. So this is my last slide, and I wish I can contribute more or less. This is based from Gary Koch's book, Making Votes Count. So for Gary Koch, he's talking about strategic voting, okay? Which means you're not voting sincerely. But when you, so his independent variables are the nature of electoral institution, nature of political actors. So it's more like he's looking from top down. But I want to look from a different angle, and that is from bottom up. So I'm trying to looking from the perspective of the villagers. So when they go to the booth, okay, what do they think before they vote, okay? So these all combined, I just make that this is like a brain and what inside the brain before they vote, okay? So safety of oneself and family, okay? Also the considerate feeling of relationship with friends or relatives, which means sometimes before the voting, some of your friends, some of your families say, hey, vote for this person, hey, vote for this person, those sorts of things, without money involved though. Just like, you know, some patron client also, but I didn't want to get into that for now. Also the kind of thoughts that whether a person prefer individual candidates over party or party over candidates. And then they'll vote. So this is the line of thinking of game theoretic. How can voters maximize their gains from voting? So it's not just to think whether who will enter the parliament, but it's actually also thinking about the life of the voters themselves after the voting date, after the election date, whether they can live peacefully afterwards. So yeah, so that would be my presentation. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Actually, I have another. Is it okay? I just want to throw it in. It's nothing serious, but I don't know if you heard about what we call in Thai คืนหมาหอน So it's a dog howling nights. That's why I post some dog picture here. Just some gimmicks, some like numbers that I got during the election. This is the night before election date and the election day. So what really interesting is, let's say 2005, which you can see from the graph that I showed you before, that the violence is so high, but the night before and the day of election, there's only one incident. Okay? And this one is 2, this one is 5. And here, 2006, why is it so much, like 32? I don't know if I should throw this in, but I'm just gonna do it anyway. That year, actually, Democrat Party didn't join or was opt out from the election. And I'll just let you think about it. So just that. Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ Yeah.